Gauteng's hospital security costs are under the spotlight. Chris Hani Baragwanath Hospital's annual security bill ballooning to a staggering 77 million, more than triple what it was just a decade ago. Charlotte Maxeke Johannesburg Hospital, well, security spending there has more than doubled in the last 3 years. The figures were revealed by Gauteng Health MEC Nomantunkomo Ralehoko, who rather put forward a written response then to questions from DA MPL Jack Bloom. Let's break down this concerning figure as well, and this rise in that figure with Jack Bloom himself, who joins us now. Mr. Bloom, thank you so much for the time. Appreciate it. I mean, this is something you have been speaking about ultimately since 2015. Back then, you had also said that they had chosen the wrong contract. The price was exorbitantly high, near 22 million ultimately at Chris Hani Baragwanath Hospital at that point in time. Do you know why these costs have tripled?
Well, in fact, the contracts that were awarded in 2015 were found to be irregularly awarded. That's a nicer way of saying there was corruption involved. And in fact, these contracts were only meant to be for 2 years. They kept getting extended for many, many years. And every year the Auditor General said this is irregular spending. You can't just extend them endlessly. Irregularly appointed contracts that were irregularly extended year after year. Then finally, they re-advertised the contracts, and now there's an amazing expansion of cost of what we're paying for this. I mean, I found this extremely, extremely fishy, to be honest. I think there is corruption involved. I think these are extortionate prices. I thought that it was that we were grossly overpaying 10 years ago, and now it's gone up more than 3 times in the case of Chris Hani Baragwanath Hospital. You could have a small army for that. If you spent the money effectively. And I also worked out, an average security guard doesn't get much more than between 6,000 and 10,000 rand at most a month. And yet what they're paying these companies, if you break it down, is something like about 23,000 to 25,000 rand per each security guard that they're getting. So the DA is calling for a comprehensive spending review on security contracts. And I think we need to see if they were properly awarded. And are we getting value for money? Because I don't think we are. And we need the money that we're now spending on security to provide improved care for our patients at hospitals. Hospitals are in the healthcare business. They're not in the security business.
That would be a 60% reduction, if your maths is correct, ultimately, in what you've just laid out, really, just on the salaries alone, then, of workers. That would be a 60% reduction on the total bill here. When the argument isn't, however, that we don't need security at hospitals, right? Because there have been instances that have needed security to be in place and really be able to handle those notions. I mean, one can recall just one in Mogale City not so long ago already.
Well, absolutely. We do need effective security, but we need to get value for money for it. And I'm not even sure that all the guards that they claim to have on site are actually on site at the right time. And of course, we should start using technology, security cameras, have a more high-tech approach to this. But at the moment, I think we're being ripped off by contracts that I suspect were irregularly awarded, and the DA is going to be probing this very closely. I think we need to review this whole area because I think we're spending close to R1 billion a year on hospital security contracts. I put in questions the Gauteng legislature to get the real cost. There's no reason why it should have doubled and tripled in the last few years. And the Gauteng Health Department, as we know, is notorious for inefficiency, wastages, and corruption. And I think this is one more example. And go to any of our hospitals today, you'll find long queues, you'll find staff shortages, you'll find equipment breakdown. And here we're spending so much money on hospital security. What we spend on security should be well spent, it should be well managed, and it should keep our hospitals safe. But we really can't go on with rip-off contracts, which is what I see in this case.
Can it even be reduced? And I say that just purely because even if you have the investigation, you've had these question marks, you have attacked those in charge on this for 10 years, and still nothing has been done. What could change now?
Well, I'd like the department to take more seriously what the Auditor General says. I continue to ask questions in the Gauteng legislature. But, ultimately, these things are decided by elections. If you keep re-electing people who keep, mismanaging a key department like the Gauteng Health Department, then you're going to get the same result. I think when the next election comes around, people should consider very carefully how they vote. And if they want a different party to control that department, that's what they must vote for.
Do you feel like it's the tender process that was done incorrectly here, or is it just a case of for your own thoughts and your own opinion here, then as though somebody else might be benefiting from this?
Well, the whole security industry is, I think, quite a fishy industry when it comes to contracts that were awarded. And the fact of the matter is that when they were awarded previously, there was an investigation. They found that they were awarded irregularly. So instead of redoing the contracts properly then, and that they found that out many years ago, they just kept extending the contracts on a month-to-month basis. I mean, that in alone is very suspicious. Look, I think that they're protected people in the Gauteng Health Department. That's why Babita Deokaran was assassinated. She got too close to certain people who were benefiting from it. And to be honest, I don't think much has changed in the Gauteng Health Department. At the moment, they've got a head of department, just imagine this, who's being investigated by the SIU for allegedly participating in bribes of 10 million rand to irregularly award two contracts. Now, how can you turn around a department if your own head of department is under investigation? So the DA has now been calling for some time for the health MEC to be dismissed, the head of department to be removed as well. And we see it in other areas as well, how badly this department is being managed. 2 weeks ago, the Gauteng High Court ruled against the department about the way that they were treating cancer patients. It says it was what they were doing was unlawful and unconstitutional. Now, I mean, the Premier of this province should have, I think, acted immediately and dismissed the MEC for Health and her head of department. I mean, here is a court of law criticizing the department for failing cancer patients.
Yeah.
So cancer patients are dying. I think it's a scandal worse than life has said to many, to be honest, because I think more people have suffered and died because of it. And the Premier of this province is not doing anything about it. So I think that tells you all you need to know.
So, Mr. Bloom, then, when you speak then to Nomantu Nkomoralehoka, the MEC for Gauteng Health, what is actually then said to you?
Well, we get all the excuses, and I try to interrogate this at health committee meetings, and I ask questions. And I think we first of all, it starts with knowing what's actually happening. So I asked questions about the cost of security. We've now got the figures out in the open, and now I think the department needs to properly respond about this. They've said previously, the rates for security guards have gone up. Well, they haven't gone up that much. And I think that there's a lot more to be interrogated here. I'd like to see a full investigation. But I'd really like to see the Premier of this province, who's remained completely silent since the devastating cancer ruling of the High Court, to do something effective. But to be honest, I think the internal factors within the ruling party and people being protected when they shouldn't be. And at the end of the day, services are deteriorating at our hospitals, patients are suffering, and meanwhile they've got a huge budget, but they're spending it completely wrongly, and there's far too much wastage and corruption.
Let me ask about, just very finally as a final question, the efficiency or the efficacy then of those security within Gauteng hospitals as well. Are they effective?
Well, we still get, I think, far too many reports of thefts and also security. After hours is very important. I have doctors who are scared, who tell me that they're scared to do after hours at casualty departments because patients come in, they could be violent, they could be drunk, and there doesn't seem to be enough security for after hours. So I think they need to review the whole security process, see where we're getting value for money, see where high technology can come in. But I really think as things stand, it looks like we're grossly overpaying for hospital security.
Well, it's going to be an interesting one then to unpack and see if perhaps the MEC could join us and unpack this just a little